little shorty a demon. She like, okay. I ain't even need no time when I went to Miami, was having a 4-way.
Daily Edition.
What's going on, everybody? Listen, having Karl Anthony Towns in a Knicks uniform is absolutely going to evoke some nostalgia of the Patrick Ewing era. That is my era. Now, it'll be a little bit more of a modern remix though. So I was thinking about it and I'm like, man, here are some ways that is going to bring that Ewing-esque energy back to the Garden. Karl Anthony Towns brings a dominant inside presence. Like Patrick Ewing, Towns can dominate in the paint. Now, their styles are a little bit different. Ewing was more of a bruiser with elite post moves and a reliable mid-range jumper. But Towns, he literally has a softer touch, pause. From all areas, pause. Including beyond the arc, okay? Still, the Knicks fans would love to have another player who can demand double teams and control the paint again. Younger Knicks fans, you know nothing about that, okay? Then he has a chance to be part of the face of the franchise. Now, Ewing held that mantle by himself. Ewing was the cornerstone of the Knicks during his time. And if Karl Anthony Towns were to come and do what he's supposed to do in New York, he'd likely be in a similar position. Right there next to Brunson, expected to carry the franchise and lead us to deep playoff runs. The hype surrounding Karl Anthony Towns in New York is going to give all of us Knicks fans that feeling of having our guy again, much like we did with Patrick Ewing, to battle the Embiids, to battle the Giannis's, to be able to bring that two-way impact like Ewing did. Ewing was a defensive force. Ewing was swatting shots. He was anchoring our defense. Karl Anthony Towns isn't Patrick Ewing, not defensively. But he also has the tools to be impactful, at least impactful on that end, when he's fully engaged and he buys in. If he embraces a stronger defensive role under the bright lights of New York City and Madison Square Garden and the Mecca, we definitely could see flashes of Patrick Ewing in big moments like Ewing had. All right. But what I can't wait to look forward to seeing is this new generation to see Towns like Ewing is a skilled big man who could do more than just bang inside the paint. Patrick Ewing had a sweet mid-range jump shot. Okay, he had a mid-range game. Towns also has extended his range out to the three-point line. And that was something that Ewing never did, although he had the capability of doing it. Now, whether offensive styles aren't identical, both would bring versatility to the Knicks offense that fans haven't seen since the Ewing era. Okay? And lastly, when I think about the star power, everybody already is predicting us to go far, if not win a chip. Madison Square Garden is known for showcasing the game's best. And while Julius, Randle and Brunson brought some excitement, Brunson and Towns, with Towns' arrival, is going to bring a level of star power that might actually feel reminiscent of when Ewing was in town. Towns' ability to light up a stat sheet and then command that attention absolutely takes us back to Patrick Ewing, where every night we knew we had the up in the matchup. So in essence, having Karl Anthony Towns come to town, join the New York Knicks, is going to give today's fans a modern day version of having a franchise-altering big man. Although the styles and the impact would be different from the 90s when it was physical, when it was grinded out, and the games were like 90 points.
Y'all can't beat my ass though.
But if Karl Anthony Towns can lead us to sustained success, that old school vibe of Ewing being back in town is going to come roaring back. That's what I love about this trade. Listen, today's fans have no idea what a skilled big man, a skilled dominant big man looks like on their team. This is why Ewing was one of my favorite players. This is why he was one of my favorite players. First off, he played no games. Before the tip of the basketball was to start, the man was in full lather, full sweat. We used to actually have jokes about that man, just sweating through everything.
At the free throw line, you know what I mean? That's why he wore the wristbands. He wore the wristbands to wipe off that sweat. So he's talking about sweat like Patrick Ewing.
But the man he didn't smile during no games. He barely wanted to fist bump you at the center court. If he fist bump, he didn't look at you. It was a mindset. It was an attitude. And the man was dominant. He was a dominant Hall of Fame big.
In an era that had dominant Hall of Fame bigs.
He was constantly battling David Robinson. He was constantly battling Hakeem Olajuwon. Shaquille O'Neal came in. And we look at today, this is why I laugh sometimes. You know, Karl Anthony Towns, statistically, he realized what his stats said. And he was just like, yeah, I'm the best shooting big man in the history of the NBA.
Resting him a little bit.
And statistically, he may not be wrong. But the first thing I thought about was like, slow down, buddy. Slow down. Because if you go back and look at Ewing's highlights, Ewing's highlights. That baseline fadeaway, if it wasn't Bernard King, it was like Ewing. That post up, turnaround, jump shot, like Patrick Ewing on the baseline. That mid-range, that two-step drive into the lane and hit that floater. Ewing was doing it. And outside of that little finger roll at the rim, I won't bring that up, but outside of that little finger roll at the rim, the man's inside finishing game was on point. Patrick Ewing was athletic. He was dominant. Crazy. He was one of the first centers that really had a legitimate jump shot. And he didn't come into the league as an offensive player. He came into the league as a defensive stalwart. He was the #1 pick, known for his defense. And this is why we laugh at people like, what's the young kid named in Minnesota? When he said there was no skill players back in the 90s.
That's some soft ass shit. Shut that soft ass shit up. All that soft.
How you come into the league as a defensive player and you transform your game into one of the elites, into one of the greats that the NBA has ever seen? Offensively, as a center. This is why old school is so hard on Ben Simmons. This is why old school was so hard on Jahlil Okafor. Players who don't want to work on their game to develop their game. Patrick showed you he could do it. Under the scrutiny of New York Lights. So Knicks fans, man, I know I talked a lot about prior to Karl Anthony Towns coming on, but it was primarily because of his attitude. It was primarily because he just seemed paper tissue soft.
Yeah, I mean, now you know. And I love you.
And if we, come on, let's keep it 100. It's because he's not of our generation. And there's moments where he's like, too playful and he talks softly. But his game is loud. That's the thing. And that's where we can get thrown off. That's where we like to consider ourselves to be knowledgeable of this game. But if we let our eyes, if we don't believe our lying eyes, and we talk about, oh, he's soft, but we see that the man is dunking on people. The man is playing with force. The man is pulling centers out away from the basket to free up driving lanes for Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart to get rebounds for over other guards. Our game is going to be different. It's going to be different. So although I really do look forward to, because I'm a child of the 90s, there's a special place in my heart for like skilled big men in the game of basketball. But at the same time, that didn't win us a championship in the 90s. So I really desired having a guard or a point guard who could take over the game. Knicks fans, check it out. We got both. Yeah, that's both with an F, not both with a TH. We got both. So get hyped. Get hyped. New York now has the return of the skilled big man. I can't wait, man. I can't wait for the press conference. I can't wait for the season. I wish nothing but health and good wishes on Julius, Dante, any of the former Knicks that helped us get to where we are, man. Let's take a moment, take a sip of something. This is water. Let's take a moment and really appreciate all of those Knicks that helped us get back, man. The New York Knicks are now being talked about in Vegas as one of the top 3 to win a championship. We don't even recognize what's happening right now. We don't recognize what's happening right now. We're not even talking about it. We're odds favorites to win the chip. That's crazy. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there is no progress. But remember this, whether it's out in the real world or here in these YouTube streets here in Knicks Deli,
everybody eats.
Your boy Shea and the New York Knicks are back, baby. I'm out. Peace.